Donald Trump has a desk in his Manhattan home at 725 Fifth Avenue. Donald Trump has a desk at the golf club in New Jersey where he spends most of his time in the summer.
Yeah, Trump derangement's getting much worse.
Political response.
So what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Trump derangement's getting pretty bad. What's this guy really talking about here? Okay, so I was scrolling around on YouTube and came across this MSNBC video.
Donald Trump has a desk.
Decided to watch it, and I was like, what the is this guy talking about? But anyway, after that, I decided to go looking around on MSNBC's YouTube page, and holy shit, they put out a video about Donald Trump at least twice per day. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a whole lot. I was like, wow, look at all this. So I started flipping through them, and they're saying like the same stuff over and over. And anyway, I grabbed a few clips from a couple of videos, and it's just nuts. So I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna give my thoughts on them, on some of the more crazy parts of them, just to show exactly how bad Trump derangement's getting, because it's getting much worse. I thought, you know, after he got out of office and all that, I figured it would kind of die down, but no, they're still going hard with it. They're still going and going and going and going and going. It's crazy, folks.
That is not his only desk. Donald Trump has a desk in his Manhattan home at 725 Fifth Avenue. Donald Trump has a desk at the golf club in New Jersey where he spends most of his time in the summer. Donald Trump obviously likes having classified documents close to him so that he can wave them around and show them to people, as he has reportedly done. Would Donald Trump leave all of his beloved classified documents in Florida when he goes north for the whole summer? If a heroin dealer had 3 residents with 3 desks, would the FBI just search the Florida one and just assume the heroin dealer would never take heroin with him for the summer and keep it in his New Jersey golf club, and he would never take heroin with him to what used to be the home he lived in most of the time in Midtown?
Okay, so he continued on about that same subject for a while. I didn't want to bore everybody to death with just talking about heroin dealers and Donald Trump, comparing heroin to classified documents. That's a bit odd. But I mean, there is some implications in that. First, he's comparing classified documents to heroin. That's weird. That also implies that the Department of Justice doesn't know how to do their job, thinking that they wouldn't check his other residences if there was classified documents. No, they knew where those classified documents were at. That's why they only went to that one place. They just didn't know the extent of what was in there. Another thing, and this is quite well known, he didn't box up those documents himself. So they're trying to make it look like he stole those documents. No, he didn't steal those documents. What he did was something kind of stupid, to be honest. It's like he didn't finish reading the What the President Can Do paper. He just thought that he could say they were unclassified documents. He didn't know that there's a process to go through that. I guess he didn't know that. Regardless of that, I can promise you that those documents weren't in any danger of being stolen or given away. He did an interview with Sean Hannity and pretty much says what's in the documents. If you want to find out what's in there, go watch that interview. It's okay. It's pretty good. I mean, he explains a lot of stuff. Kind of put my mind at ease. But that was something that did come out with him saying,
if you're the president of the United States, you can declassify just by saying it's declassified, even by thinking about it.
I'm sorry. No, that's not how it works. There is a process. And that's something else he also said, that, well, there is a process, but it doesn't have to be. Yeah, it kind of does, because the clerks need to keep track of all that crap. But they're wasting a lot of taxpayer dollars and time on somebody taking some documents that they weren't supposed to have. They call it a criminal investigation. I don't really see why we're wasting that much money on this, but I understand people want to take Trump down, so they're going to take it fucking chance they can. Let's roll with the next one.
But for how much longer do you think Donald Trump can successfully delay these multiple ongoing criminal investigations? I mean, there are so many moving at different stages.
Yeah, I think he's been playing Russian roulette with the legal system, and he's about to lose. And I think the reason is that this documents case, the Mar-a-Lago, the theft of classified documents that he engaged in, is a very, very simple case. And his attempts to delay it have been unsuccessful. But even his effort to try to get something from the Supreme Court this week wouldn't actually, even if he won that, it wouldn't actually delay the litigation.
Can we ask you to detangle the threads for us in the now 2 tracks of appeals in the case of Donald J. Trump versus the United States of America, with Donald Trump appealing directly to the United States Supreme Court, while the Justice Department has an expedited appeal now moving in the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals.
Now, that struck me as kind of odd and kind of interesting, made me kind of lift my eye a little bit. The Department of Justice has an appeal, so that means that something went through the court and Trump won whatever that was. Now, he doesn't say what it is, but that's what that tells me. So.
Well, I couldn't blame people for being a bit confused. So just to go back to the origin of all this, it was a search and seizure that was pursuant to a search warrant that was issued by Judge Reinhardt, and not a word in anything that has been filed in court by the Trump lawyers suggests anything illegal about that search and seizure, or that any of the things that were searched and seized can't be used. So all the rest is sort of dancing around the edges and counting angels on the head of a pin.
As new details seem to emerge every day, and we learn more about the investigation into why the twice impeached, disgraced ex-president took and kept classified documents at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, that wasn't unbiased.
We still don't really know what motivated him to take them in the first place. There are legitimate national security concerns that keeping those documents at Mar-a-Lago, some of them the most classified and top secret that our government possesses.
Yes, the mostest classified documents that they possess. That was very smart of you to say.
Might enable Trump to potentially profit off them with our adversaries. There's also a less nefarious but no less illegal explanation that he wanted to use the documents to brag and gloat and boost his own ego with members of his golf club.
Well, tonight, the appropriately titled case of Donald J. Trump versus the United States of America is in the hands of a new judge, a judge who has been publicly exposed as having a dramatic conflict of interest in all matters related to Donald Trump, thanks to the now publicly exposed urgings by his wife to violate the law to overturn the results of the last presidential election. Clarence Thomas's wife, who is a lawyer, urged Republicans in state legislatures around the country to change the outcome of the presidential election in their states without any legal means to do that.
Now, what he just said there, that's a serious accusation. And the funny thing about it is coming up, he's about to refute everything he just said.
Doing what Clarence Thomas's wife was urging them to do would have been a crime. Same with the frantic urgings Virginia Thomas was sending to the White House, including to Donald Trump's last chief of staff, Mark Meadows. Lawyer Virginia Thomas never once urged Republicans to overturn the election using legal means, after all of the courts, including the Supreme Court, refused any legal approaches to overturning the election.
Okay, I'm sorry, but if that would have actually happened the way he said it did and then refuted it, something would have been said. But I went back and looked, I researched, I couldn't find anything on what he just said. I'm not going to sit here and say he made that up, but he...
We have some breaking news to report in the criminal investigation into Donald Trump's handling of classified documents. In just the last hour, in what amounts to part desperate measure, part legal Hail Mary, attorneys for the ex-president made an attempt to block DOJ's criminal investigation by asking the U.S. Supreme Court to reverse a ruling by an appeals court that gives the DOJ access to classified documents that were seized at Mar-a-Lago.
Explain this to me like I'm six. Why can't the Department of Justice just arrest Donald Trump right now for not turning over documents that he has no right to have at this particular point? Explain that to me.
You gotta see this. This guy's reaction is priceless. I laughed for like 10 minutes after that. I couldn't help it.
Well, Jason, that's a very straightforward question. I'm going to do my best to give you a straightforward answer, and you and all the viewers who may be wondering the exact same thing. The answer is probable cause. The DOJ and Merrick Garland would have to be able to articulate with reasonable certainty that a crime has been committed by the fact that this individual has these documents in their possession, or that they know with great certainty that he likely still has something left. And I think that the DOJ is proceeding very carefully about making those allegations in the court of law before they know with a higher level of certainty that that is the case. But that's the issue. The issue is that they need to be able to establish probable cause that a crime has occurred. And at this point, they don't necessarily know that they can do that.
Now, breaking news on the Mar-a-Lago documents investigation, questioning whether the former president is fully cooperating with the feds. The New York Times reporting the Justice Department has indicated to Trump's lawyers that it suspects he still has not yet returned all the documents taken from the White House. And
wow is all I can say. I mean, they're just nonstop, just on this guy like white on rice or like stank on It's crazy. If you were to ask them, they making Donald Trump out to be the boogeyman. There's been so many attempts to take him down now. It's just getting repetitive and ridiculous. And it seems like there's a lot of people that just don't know that a lot of that is BS. They still think Trump is an evil person. I mean, he's probably an asshole, but he was a good president. That's all I can say. Whether he stole some documents or not, I really don't think that matters, to be honest. I mean, that kind of pales in comparison as to some of the corruption some of these other politicians are involved with that I've been noticing, and it's urging me to do something. I mean, that's the whole reason I've been making these videos, is trying to flush out some of this corruption and show just how these politicians pull the wool over people's eyes. And it's not anything illegal now, but it is dirty and underhanded stuff that they're doing. Does it affect you and me? Yes, it does, because policy. Some of the policy they make just doesn't make any sense. And I think we're seeing the repercussions of a lot of that right now. Inflation, all the crime that's going on, the southern border. I mean, it's just crazy, but that's all I got for this one. Thank y'all for watching. Be positive. Peace.
There was real movement inside the Trump administration to give particularly Snowden a pardon. They came much closer to Snowden than they did to Assange. And if you think about it, why would they have initiated an impeachment proceeding against a president who within a couple of weeks was on his way out? And the reason, Crystal, was that they were very afraid that on his way out, Trump was going to do a bunch of stuff, including not just giving pardons to Snowden and Assange, but also declassify all kinds of documents he had been threatening to declassify about the CIA, about the Kennedy assassination. And the only leverage they had against Trump doing what they considered crazy stuff on his way out was the second impeachment trial. And they explicitly communicated to Trump, multiple Republican kind of hawkish senators did, that if you do what we know you're thinking about doing, what Rand Paul and Matt Gaetz and others were encouraging him to do, which was pardon Snowden, that will severely jeopardize your chances of getting out of this impeachment trial with an acquittal.
Does that relate to the documents that he then takes to Mar-a-Lago? Because there's some reporting that the documents that he took there were, related to Russiagate.
What I know for sure is that Trump was threatening to declassify all of those documents relating to Russiagate because Trump believes, I think with a lot of validity, that there were crimes committed or at least ethical transgressions committed during the 2016 election to create and manufacture Russiagate. It came out of the CIA. And I don't know exactly which documents he took. Nobody really knows exactly which documents he took, but it certainly seems to align with everything I knew at the time, which was that Trump wanted those documents public, had the power to declassify them, and now his defense is that he did.